Yo, 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 what's going on? How y'all doing? Kunal here. Good evening. It's about midnight. Wanted to talk to you a little bit today about an interesting thing. So yesterday we had like that kind of like that market rollover, um, big market pop, and today we rolled over. And so a couple things. I did actually the same type of futures trade that I did yesterday, which I made the video out. Check it out. But one of the awesome parts about when the market rolls over is that you can have some incredible shorting opportunities. So a lot of people, when they trade, they just assume they can go long all the time. What they don't often realize is that when the market rolls over, you can have bigger gains because the range expands when the market is weak. You get more volatility, and stocks, they take right stair steps to go up and elevators to come down. And so I only took two trades today on the stock side. I was mostly trading futures and bitcoins today. But I had a couple good trades in NVIDIA and shop. But let's go into shop here because this is a cool setup that I do. So one of the things with shop is, and yeah, so we made what, 1,900 bucks on these two stocks. One of the things with shop is that it was breaking support the last couple days. And so, yesterday it had a bounce day, but it never broke its 9 EMA. So today when it started to roll and it broke back under its 50 SMA, that's a remount trade. It's re-breaking. And so at that point, you have to give itself a reasonable target of $82 essentially. And so what we did on this was took multiple trades with the thesis that on the bigger picture, we're getting this rollover due to the rejection at the 9 EMA. And then what we're doing is just aligning intraday our setups to really nail this thing down. So I took two setups in shop that worked out really, really well. The first one, so, and by the way, I traded this really, really small, a couple hundred shares, 300 shares here. But you can see, like, after this big push here, right? After this big push, what we did was I waited for a bounce in this bad boy. And I like to do this stock, especially like that mid-morning. Once you get a big flush, I let the stock bounce. And you don't know where it's going to bounce. But what I'll do is I'll see what area it bounces. And then when it kind of remounts some support, I'll short it. So as this thing popped into its 20 EMA, when it remounted the VWAP, I took a short in this thing, just a couple hundred shares originally. And then we're playing it back down this way. And you can see this is from 87 down. And so I essentially had 300 shares. I covered 100, right? And then covered 100 down here and had like a really, really nice flush. Now, this is the thing. So my statistics tell me, guys, if you aren't tracking what you're doing, what you're good at, you're never going to make it as a trader. One of the things that I've noticed for my trades is that when I'm trading well, my best trades every day, I typically will hit a stock 4 to 5 times during that day to elongate my gain, right? It's not necessarily about going in balls deep, all in one position, but trading around it as you see setups and you start to see trends. So what happened is, I took this setup and I got this really big gain on it. But remember, I was only trading 300 shares of this thing. So, I took a decent gain out of it. And then what I did was I let it pop again. And I don't know where it's going to pop to, so I shorted this thing into the pop at the 9 EMA, and it came down a little bit, and then it just popped back over. So I ended up covering this thing flat. It happens, right? You just, the setup doesn't work. In trading, sometimes you take shots, little shots, to see or throw out a feeler to see if that's the bigger roll. Now, when it started to go up, rather than getting frustrated that because my trade didn't work, I liked it because I said, well, I'm going to get out for a small loss or a flat trade, but if it starts to pop, I'm going to be able to get more reward because I'm going to be able to short it higher. So I get excited about that. A lot of people, they look at a trade and they have to get out flatter, they take a small loss, and they get really frustrated with themselves. They're like, oh, man, I just can't buy a bucket today. But I don't look at it like that. If I have an overall thesis that this stock is supposed to do this, when it starts to pop, I'm excited because it's going to give me more reward to get it back down. So I covered it flat to small loss, and then it started to pop into the VWAP. Midday, I love VWAP pops. Now, once this thing popped in the VWAP, once it remounted back under, I shorted it with the stop above this high. And then it chopped around for about 10, 15 minutes. You can see I was up on it, and then it popped $1, and you're like, oh, man. But it never broke my stop, and then it kind of remounted back under, and you can see, like, and then it broke down right here. And then it was game on, dude. It was cover, 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 cover. I had 300 shares again and made a nice killing on it. And, you know, overall, I was up almost $1,200 on this. I could have probably been up way more. The stock doesn't trade it has a spread on it, so I have trouble getting good size on it sometimes, but it's got incredible range. A lot of people think that, yeah, I just got to trade small cap stocks. I got to be in the next specs or something like that, but you can trade 100 shares of this back and forth, and when you have a $6, $7 range, and you're shorting this and getting $4 or $5, dude, you can have yourself some big days. You can make 300, 400, 500 bucks just trading a small amount of shares. You know, you don't always have to just trade a penny stock. Think about range. What can I trade around where I can get in and out easily? You know, and so then once this stock cracked, it was, right, cover some at support, cover some at support again, and it broke down and it ended up being a fake breakdown. I thought maybe it could flush a little bit more. So once it started to pop, I ended up covering the rest. When it can't hold that breakdown, I just get out, and it's off to the races. So that's it, guys. So feel free to leave me any questions or whatever. It was a pretty fun day, man. You know, on these type of days, you don't want to overtrade too much. You don't want to take too many trades. Focus in. My focus was on futures. You know, I made about 3,600 bucks trading futures, and then I had a handful of stocks that I really wanted to do. I'm going for bigger, elongated gains versus trying to take 10 tickers and just trade them back and, you know, and try to just catch some home run. I focus in my list, and I pick the best stocks. Our job as traders is we have a responsibility to be in the best stocks that day. You know, that's the whole ballgame. You're only as good as the stocks you trade. So let me know if you have any questions, guys. I look forward to hearing from you guys. I hope you all had an awesome day also, and take care.